Breaking free from fear. What is life? Oh, we're not ready to go yet, are we? I've still got to look at the countdown. Or have I? Oh, I don't know. I'm confused this morning. Didn't have my coffee, and if you've worked with me before or if you listened before, you know that I'm hopeless without coffee. What is life if it's a fear? If it's a life lived in fear of what's going to happen? Too often, many people allow their fears to dictate their lives. So, what is fear? And I want you to ask yourself, what exactly is holding you hostage? Welcome to Morning Mindset. That was a sketchy start, wasn't it? This is week 2 of our series on making broken beautiful and living life by your own design rather than existing by default. And it's about living intentionally, okay? And today's topic is fear. So if this is the first time you're joining me, welcome. And I normally start off better than that, so don't judge me. Okay, you may already know life beyond fear. You may already know, right, that living in fear keeps you from doing what you want and from achieving your full potential. And it traps you in this cycle of unhappiness and can prevent you from enjoying your life to the fullest. But it doesn't have to be that way, because you can choose to live a life beyond fear. You can choose to face your fears and overcome them. You can choose to live this amazing life of adventure and excitement. And I speak from experience here, because I've been afraid of so many things my whole life. And to be honest, there's still a lot of things that frighten me. I just refuse to let that fear win, and so can you. But all it takes, and I say but all it takes, it takes just a little bit of courage and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone. And I often ask my clients when I'm working with them that the life that they're living right now, does it reflect your fears or your hopes and your dreams? And you wouldn't believe how many people actually say it's reflecting their fears. So how many times have you ever felt too afraid to do that one thing that you know if you did it, everything would change for you? I know I was afraid of not being able to survive on my own, that I would end up living in poverty, that I would have to go without food and beg for money and end up homeless, just as I'd done as a young girl when I grew up in a very difficult environment, living hand to mouth as an existence. And I was a mother, so moving on from that, as an adult and a mother of 2 beautiful children, there's no way I ever wanted them to struggle the way I did. And that had been my biggest fear, and it kept me in place for 25 years. But I made the best of my life. I wasn't deliriously happy, but I wasn't unhappy either. I was stuck in this kind of like no man's land. I was afraid that everything I'd been told as a child about not being good enough, about being a good for nothing, going nowhere fast, might actually be true. And what if it was? Then what would I do? And that was a risk that I wasn't prepared to take. And for a very long time, it just kept me where I really didn't want to be, because I didn't have enough belief in myself then. I stayed put and I held on tight to everything, and I just made it work until it didn't anymore. But then came the biggest step outside my comfort zone that I've ever taken. But in fact, it actually took me 10 years from the time that I knew I didn't want to be where I was until I finally got the courage to do so. So it didn't happen overnight, right? And so let me ask you, what are you afraid of? What's keeping you stuck where you don't belong? Because there's a beautiful quote by Dan Millman that says, fear is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. And that's so true. We can just, I've got, my partner has clients that are in their 80s and 90s, and some are even nearly in triple digits. And they regret so many things about not having the courage, not taking more risks, not saying no more often, not having boundaries, like stop people pleasing. The fear has a terrible power. And to overcome it, you've got to understand that it's normal to feel afraid sometimes. We all have things that scare us, right? But if we let those fears control us, then we'll never be able to achieve anything we want in life. We'll never achieve any goals or even live our dreams. So we need to learn how to conquer those fears. And as I said already, all it takes is a little bit of courage and a little bit of a willingness to step outside your comfort zone. Because when we conquer our fears, we open ourselves up to a whole world of possibilities. We can dare to dream. I know I didn't dream for a long time. Go after your goals, and you can make your life amazing, right? You can lead the life that you actually want to lead. And I promise this is real, because I've been and done it myself. As you may know, I grew up in poverty, and I was abandoned by everybody at 15 years old when I came to an empty house. And yet here I am now, talking on the internet to all you amazing people, and I'm learning to fly helicopters. I mean, hello. like growing up in poverty, learning to fly helicopters. And I would love to be able to use that skill to fly in and out of places where food or help is needed. Now, I'm not rich, right? So it's not that I've got this like big, like tons of money and I can just throw it around. Yeah. I don't have a massive support team helping me make it happen. I'm making it happen for me, right? I'm determined and I'm motivated and I'm resourceful and resilient. And you are too. And you're way more resourceful and resilient than you've probably given yourself credit for. And you can make your life happen for the way you want it to as well. You just got to shut that fear up and crush it, and grow from whatever life experience has given you and go after the life that you want. There's a whole world out there waiting for you. I want you to go out and enjoy it and explore it. Live your life to the fullest. Enjoy it. I promise you, you can. I've helped hundreds of people as well as myself do this. And stepping outside of your comfort zone of facing your fears is the first step to being free from them. And through this kind of mini trainings and all my other trainings, I hope to encourage you to do just that, to crush your fears so you can set yourself free and begin to enjoy that life you really want, starting right now. Okay? And write to me. Tell me that you've done that and you've tried something. I would love to be a part of your journey. Because stepping outside your comfort zone can be difficult. I understand that. But it's crucial to living a full life. So I want to share a few tips that I use with my clients to help you get started. And the first step is identifying that fear. Come up with a plan to address it. For example, if you're afraid of public speaking, start by practicing in front of the mirror. That looks really weird, but you do it anyway. And then practicing in front of a friend or a family member. Or you can join something like Toastmasters where they teach you how to speak. I did that for a few months and it was really good. But then I got busy and I couldn't go anymore. But it was actually really good. They count all the times you say and ah. I used to say it an awful lot. I still do. But anyway, I still went and I would like to go back sometime. So the next step then is to take action. Once you've identified your fear, take action, but start small. Don't try to tackle your biggest fear straight away because you're going to set yourself up for failure. And then you can think, oh, well, that didn't work and I knew it wouldn't. And you get into that negative self-talk. And I've got a whole series to show on negative self-talk, but we'll come to that another time. So start with something small that you can handle comfortably and create logical little steps to conquer that fear. Like I had a client that was frightened of spiders. So we did like big spiders, little spiders, fat spiders, all sorts of different types of spiders. And she happened to be in my studio and there happened to be one in the window. And she said, oh my God, there's a spider on the window and I'm not afraid of it. And I went, fantastic, let's get closer. So we got closer, she's going, oh, nailed it. And then she got really close and she breathed on the window and the thing ran and she's like, lost it. And she's like, oh my, I said, wait, we haven't done moving spiders, we've just done static ones. So then we had to do running spiders because man, they're all right when they're just like stuck there like that, aren't they? But when they start running, they're like, Anyway, that was fun. It was a good thing, but we crushed her fear of spiders. I mean, she doesn't like them. I don't like them, but we're not afraid of them anymore. So that's a cool thing too. And lots of examples I could give you. When I first started riding snowboarding on steep terrain, I had to build up to that. So doing these mini trainings as well and being afraid of being judged because I make mistakes and I'm not, polished like, other people. But so you got to stop worrying about all of those things, all right? Stop it. Just take small steps and stop judging your failures when you don't get there. When you don't do what you set out to do, just reset. Okay, that's why my whole program is called Reset Your Life. And gradually build up your confidence so you can tackle all your fears head on, right? And one of the other things you're going to have to do, and another step, is to challenge your beliefs. And I do this all the time now. I constantly ask myself why I think the way I do, why I believe what I do, why do I act the way I do? And then I try to unpack that and understand where it comes from or who I learned that from. Because a lot of times our fears are based on completely irrational beliefs, right? If you're afraid of flying, for example, it may be because you think the plane's going to crash. I worked with a client who had a fear of flying. It had nothing to do with the fear of the plane being crashed. It was actually one of not being in control, of being claustrophobic and didn't like heights and people in a space. So your fear may not really be what you think it is. So you have to unpack it, challenge it, and ask yourself how much of that fear is really true when you start to unpack it. Awesome. And then, okay, so what else? The next step would be to think about the worst thing that could happen, right? When I think about this right now, my greatest fear is that I'll never realize my full potential, that I'll never become all that I can be, that I won't help enough people to move past their pain and their trauma. And just that thought alone drives me every day to do more and be more. But that's my biggest fear, that I'm not doing enough, that I should be doing more, that I'm never going to really understand or know, did I really do everything I was capable of, right? And I think about the worst thing that could happen. The worst thing that happened with me is like that people are out there suffering and I didn't help them. So think about the worst thing that could happen for you when you do decide to face your fears now. Because in my earlier example, if you're afraid of public speaking, for example, the worst thing that could happen is you'd make a mistake and you forget where you're going. And chances are, if it happened, it wouldn't be the end of the world anyway. It happens to me all the time. I get distracted, just like I did at the beginning, right? When I see a comment put up by my team sometime, I read it and I go, oh, and then I go, okay, where was I going with that thought? Okay. But I know that the people out there who are ready for my message won't care. And those people that do care, well, maybe my message is not for them, right? I learned this thing in some training years ago called the man over the board test, right? And the man over board test is if you're drowning in an ocean and I want to throw you a ring, I'm not going to go, sorry, it's a little bit dirty on this side, it's a bit worn on that side and the handle, and if you've got to do that, they get throw me the damn ring, right? They don't care. They just want the ring. So imagine yourself in your worst case scenario, and it probably and usually is not as bad as you think it's going to be. And then another thing is to visualize your success. So once you've identified your fear, you've thought about the action you're going to take, it's important to visualize yourself doing that thing and being successful. All right. So if you're nervous, think about giving that speech in front of a group of people and delivering it flawlessly. All right. Visualizing yourself succeeding will help you believe in yourself and give you that confidence. Now, I get my clients to visualize all the time, no matter what we're working on, because it resets the system, and the system then can expect better things from you. So one last thing, it's about understanding your fears and recognizing that you have the power to control your thoughts and your emotions. Believe in your ability to succeed, right? Once you've taken the time to understand your fears and you know what you need to do to believe in yourself and you've taken that action, do something that scares you, even if it's tiny, right? Stepping outside your comfort zone. I know it can be scary, I've said that before, all right? But it's also exhilarating. It's an essential part of living to have a full and happy life. And I encourage all my clients to enjoy and savor the moments when they're brave and taking action, okay? So they're the moments that make life worth living, to be honest. And then lastly, practice. Face your fears and practice, practice, practice. The only way to get over them is to face them head on and practice. And I hope this training encourages you to stop waiting and step outside your comfort zone so you can grab a better life beyond fear. And I want you to know that you have the power to overcome your fears. So just start. Do whatever it takes to believe in yourself and your ability to succeed, because when you believe in yourself, you're more likely to take better action, bigger action, and less likely to be held back by fear. So even by taking those little steps, by the way, I hope that these are going to get you started so you can live that life and give yourself all the opportunities that are around you, because they're there. Just got to go out and grab them and seize the day, as they say. So a quick recap. There's an 8-step solution for moving beyond fear. And that is 1, acknowledge your feelings. 2, identify the source of your fear. 3, challenge your thoughts and your self-talk. 4, challenge your beliefs about yourself. 5, talk to someone you trust. 6, fears thrive in silence. 7, practice self-compassion. And 8, take action. And if you have any tips for overcoming fear, share them in the comments. I would love to read them. And that's it from today. I'm going to wrap up so you can overcome fear and move on with your life. It takes courage and willingness to make mistakes along the way. This means that when you do, you experience a setback or failure, you don't give up. Learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward. Refuse to let your fears hold you back. That's it for me today. On Monday, we'll be addressing life without guilt. Thank you for being here. As always, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you do. And my greatest wish is for you to be mind fit so you can live your best life and live it with passion. Reset, be authentic, and be you. And we have some comments. Boy, I love the comments. I love the interaction. Don't you miss that? Good morning, Mark Sullivan, joining us from YouTube. You're the first person. And Sebastian Arne from YouTube too. Fear is paralyzing, like no limbs, no strength. Absolutely. It really is. And JP says from Facebook, I'm still afraid of being betrayed by my own family. That's how they have always been, using me, betraying me. Yeah, you know what? You may never be able to control that, JP, but you can control how you react to that and how you let it impact you. So there you have tools there. Sebastian says, I've been afraid of a lot. I've always found reasons to fight my fear. Too ambitious to stay scared. Yes, I love that. Me too. JP says, it's scary as hell to do things that you're not comfortable with. It is. But once you decide that, then you get on to do it anyway, JP. And Parker says from LinkedIn, thank you. Join us, Parker. I share that feeling. I'm afraid I've not achieved enough before I die. I know, it gets me. It drives me. Parker also says, visualizing my key game plan to do things in life and work. Yeah, visualizing is my key game plan. Pardon me. Sorry. Parker says, fears usually come from past trauma or setbacks. They do. They come from an idea that you think something might happen rather than something that actually is happening. Because, you know, all that worrying that you do when something's that you think about something that might happen, when it actually is happening, you're not worried about it, you're actually dealing with it. So it's really funny. All that worrying is a waste of time. Yeah. And that's it for today. Once you become fearless, life becomes limitless. I love that. Thank you guys for joining me. If you find this helpful, share it with anyone that you know may benefit from these mini trainings. And have a lovely weekend. See you next week.